Most recently, when I came back in the room, was ask Abe to talk about purpose and what purpose can mean to me and what purpose can mean to any individual.
Well, purpose will trip you up because purpose feels like an assignment. Mm-hmm. So you're always looking for your purpose when actually your purpose finds you. We've been saying for a while that the purpose of life is joy.
Yes.
The basis of life is freedom. Mm-hmm. But the purpose is joy. The result is never-ending expansion. But people get that all mixed up. They think the purpose is expansion. Mm-hmm. So they think the purpose of life is expansion, therefore I should try and offer effort at all costs. Mm-hmm. When their goal or their purpose is expansion, then they disconnect from their awareness of their guidance system. Where if your purpose is joy, then you never disconnect from your awareness of where you stand, and then you experience the inevitable expansion. You see, you're so free you can choose bondage. So freedom is really an interesting thing. You're so free that you can think whatever thought you want. You can establish any vibrational point of attraction that you give your attention to. Freedom, it just is. You are free. No one is vibrating for you. No one is emitting signals for you. Oh, there is influence, but that's all about your giving your attention to something. It's about you tuning into it. In other words, it's like just because the radio station is broadcasting doesn't mean you have to hear it in your car. You got to turn something on and you got to tune to it. In other words, it's not asserting itself into your realization unless you do some tuning. So there are a lot of people that are doing a lot of tuning, not even knowing they're doing the tuning, and then complaining about what they've tuned into and wanting it to go away. And we say, that's really going about it the hard way, because now you've got to control the whole world and you can't. You don't even know what you want from the whole world. But when your purpose is joy, now you are at the place that you will tune yourself into the frequency that allows you all of this. We're glad that that was inspired to you. We're glad that you received that clarification, because it's a really good place to insert something so poignant and perfect into this conversation. You are magnificent receivers of wonderful things, but most people don't know it. And so we want to find a way of soothing you into you letting the good stuff that you deserve and that you've been asking for and that you've identified come to you. But you're hard to soothe because you've got so many preconceived notions of who you are and so many preconceived notions of what you should be doing, that when we say to you that your singular work is to find a way to soothe yourself right now into letting all of the goodness in, it doesn't seem enough for you, because a lot of times you feel like you've been sitting there and it hasn't been coming, but you've been sitting there in a resistant vibration and you don't need to do that anymore. Have you received any clarity at all today?
Yes.
Do you feel more ready to just be nicer to yourself and just allow more good things to flow to you?
Yes.
Do you feel less necessary to justify or defend or earn the well-being? Does it feel to you like the flood is flowing to you?
Absolutely.
And are you ready to bring the umbrella or the shield down and just let it flow?
Yeah.
So what are the techniques that would allow that? Well, they are as simple as anything that feels good to you. It really is that. But let's talk about, if your purpose is joy, and the reason that it's a good thing for you to focus upon that being your purpose is because that means you've found a way to allow yourself to be the full and complete receiver of all of the wonderful things that you deserve and all of the wonderful things that you've become. Did you hear how big that statement was?
I feel like I arrived. I feel like I'm now in the room.
So, as that is your goal, what things can you think of that would more easily lead you there?
Well, immediately I feel Amber again. When she left Earth, I felt her energy come into me and go out like this. And so I feel very comfortable like this. But I sometimes find that I'm like this. And so joy feels like this. So I immediately feel my energy shift to joy.
So let's talk about the components that cause that to happen. So when somebody makes their transition and you can no longer look at them here, now you're looking at them wherever you think that they are.
And I can hear her from
And what were your preconceived notions about where she is?
I knew I would be able to hear her from the moment
But what
she
were
left.
your preconceived notions about her state of being, about where she
that
is?
she would be in infinite wellness, that she would return
And
to
so as
complete
you focused
peace.
upon that, just for a moment, not in the missing of her, but on that,
absolutely.
because her vibration was so dominant, then you accomplished it too.
And maintained it for a long time. And then something just has been, the waking up isn't as buoyant, I've said.
Well, you forgot your purpose.
Yeah.
That's why she wanted to remind you.
Right.
You forgot your purpose. What's your purpose?
Joy.
And there are so many ways to find it. What are some of the ways that you can find joy?
Look around.
There is so much to see, but are those conditions?
Yes.
Maybe. They're
Sometimes.
joyful conditions. So sometimes the condition's a little bit of a trap. But what are the thoughts that always bring you joy? Do you have some of those in your pocket?
Oh, absolutely.
So get them out often and feel them. Feel those things that bring you joy. And watch the list of them continue to expand.
Definitely.
And what will be the result of steady focus upon things that make you feel joyful? What will be the result of that?
I feel like it cultivates an environment where you can receive because you're already
It does
in a
that.
place.
It certainly does cultivate the environment. And so if the environment's been cultivated, then what happens? If you've created an atmosphere around you that is non-resistant, then what happens next?
Well, went from bankruptcy to where we are, and I've just seen it keep going like that. It
So
just
what
goes.
happens next?
Expansion.
The things that you've been asking for, that you've put into your vortex, begin flowing
Arrive.
in a steady stream into your experience. And so you call that manifestation. We call that the natural rhythm. So is that clear?
Yes.
You create the atmosphere of joy one way or another. You just figure it out. Just figure it out. Don't ask us how to do it. Look at stuff and it feels joyful. Keep looking at it. And if it doesn't, look somewhere else. And just keep looking around till you find things that feel good. Think thoughts until you find some that feel good. And when you find some that feel good, remember them. Remember them. Esther found a new app. She was so excited to find it because she's spread out all over the place. And the app is, where is it? Where is it? And so, well, there it is. So now where's my phone that has the app in it that says, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Well, she wants to remember where she's put things, and we want you to remember the things that you found here. So what's the purpose of life?
Joy.
And where do you find that? Well, you got to kind of look for it at first, but you find it in not complicated places. Don't look for it in those hard relationships. And don't look for it in the government. Don't look for it there. And don't look for it on CNN either. In other words, look for it in logical places. Look for it in nature. You'll
Outside.
always
That's what I
find
was
it
thinking,
there.
outdoors,
Look
yeah.
for it in sure places. In other words, look for it where you think it might be. Look for it where you think it might be. And why are you looking for it where you think it might be? Because you want to find it. Don't look for it where you're not going to find it. Look for it where you're very sure that it's going to be. Where you going? I'm looking for joy. Where is it? It's around. Well, how are you going to find it? I'm looking in all the easy to find places. I'm looking in the logical places. When you go into your kitchen and you need a frying pan, do you look in the refrigerator for it? Do you look in the wastebasket? Don't you look in the logical place for it? Don't you kind of pretty much know where things logically are? We know you live with some unreasonable people, and sometimes things aren't where they logically should be. We know that every analogy is a little off in some ways. So what's the purpose of life? And are there easy to find places of that? And is it a manifestation that is evident to you? Can't you feel it? And what happens when you focus upon something for just a little while?
Easier.
Momentum ensues and it becomes bigger. And so isn't it logical that if you look for joy and find it and care about it and acknowledge it, that you would feel the inspiration to express it, to talk about it, to acknowledge it, and then doesn't that mean the momentum will become more and more and more?
And so what do you do with the feeling then of being seen and like almost becoming too much, because I mean, my whole childhood, and I've worked on that,
Give us more. Being seen by who?
Just, you're too much, please stop, you're too much, be quiet, you're too much, can you just not talk for 1 minute?
We don't think you're looking for joy. We think you went right to the cupboard where it's not ever even been in there, opened the cupboard, and brought out the most horrible parts of your life and said, show me joy over here, Abraham. Show me joy here. Right. Show me joy where I've never found it. Show me joy in the criticism of others. Show me joy in the confusion of people not understanding
that. But it's when I'm joyful that I feel that that's the energy. Like the joy was too much for someone that wasn't in joy. And so it's just allowing yourself to be in joy.
Now use your logic. Use your logic and tell us how logical what you just said is.
Well, it sounds to me like it's an opposite type situation where one is in and one is out.
Yeah. So if you're looking for joy, is that the conversation to have?
No, not of course, but that's the feeling. There's like you talk about a ceiling. Like I hit this
feeling. So you're telling us that when you're looking for joy,
when I'm feeling joy, I hit a level where all of a sudden the joy is too much.
Well, that's not possible unless you've introduced resistance, and now your plane went off the runway off into the bushes.
Right.
So you didn't really have control of your joy the way you thought that you did.
Right.
You just repeated a behavior that never led you to where you wanted to be, and you did it again, which is all right, but let's do it different now. Right. So did you follow what happened there? It's easier to see it when you're not in the middle of it. So what's the purpose of your life experience?
Joy.
And what is joy? In technical terms, in Abraham speak, what is the emotion of joy? It is a manifestation that indicates alignment. It's a manifestation that indicates no resistance.
Well, it feels to me like when I'm in joy, I'm allowing. So I feel like I have an aligned position.
Allowing what?
That's then
allowing
source
connection,
and flow, and I trust the universe. And there's just there's no efforting. There's nothing that needs to be done.
So when you feel that way and you hit that wall, what kind of things have been going on when that happens? You're bipping along, you're in joy, then you notice someone who's looking at you who doesn't understand your joy, who doesn't understand it. And now you've introduced their misunderstanding into your equation, and now you just blew a tire, and now you're off in the bushes. You didn't take off.
Right. Because the condition of what they thought of
So
me.
you're going to just keep doing that every day? I'm joyful, you don't get it, off in the bushes. Okay,
right.
I'm joyful again, you don't get it, off in the bushes.
That doesn't
I'm
work.
joyful. Abraham, I keep being joyful, but I'm so misunderstood that I can't stay joyful. And we say, what has anybody else's awareness of you got to do with your joy?
Right.
Why are you introducing their misunderstanding into your understanding? You get this.
Right. What you think of me is none of my business is definitely...
So we're not pinning you to this. We're not saying, why do you do this? But why do you do that?
Yeah, exactly. Stop it. Stop it.
Why do you do that? Because it doesn't feel like joy?
No.
So why would anyone do something that doesn't feel good? Why would you keep doing something that doesn't feel good?
It must have benefited
momentum.
me
No, it never benefited
you.
you. Not one time ever.
Good.
Why do you
That's
do
good.
something that doesn't feel good?
Well, you think that in the having or doing or being of it, you'll feel better. You're looking for relief.
Well, that's really a flawed premise, though, given what you now know. Think about it in terms of the physics. Let's just talk the basics of law of attraction as you know them to be. Why do you keep doing something that you don't want to do? Because there's momentum. There's momentum that is encouraging it. So is the answer to try to stop the momentum in the middle of the momentum? Is that even possible? Think about everything you know about physics.
No,
that just causes explosions and crashes and burning and pain and suffering. That never works. So what's the answer? Start the momentum at another time when you have control over the momentum that you're starting.
Right. Well, it's like the high-flying disc
And get
concept
further
is-
down the road with it. And so what happens is you start it again, and you start it again, and you start it again, and you start it again, till you get going and going and going. And pretty soon, you're joyful, and somebody doesn't understand it, and you don't care that they don't understand because you've got so much momentum that their misunderstanding does not create a wobble in you.
Mm-hmm. Even on the topic of joy, where it's so...
On
feels...
any topic, there are people who earn so much money, and there are people who criticize everybody that earns so much money. And do you know, there are people who earn a lot of money who don't care what you think? And do you know, it's a good thing that they don't care what you think, or they couldn't earn a lot of money.
Right.
If they tried to understand your misunderstanding, they would not be in that place where they could receive what they want.
They'd be off in the bushes with the
Don't
plane.
relate to other people. Relate to your own vortex. Don't try to relate to every squirrely idea in the world. Hold yourself in a vibrational place that allows the ideas that are really what you're looking for to come to you. This was a really good conversation. You feel satisfied in it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.